Hello, this is Josh Belk with the Belk on Business podcast. Today we're going to pick up on the series that we started last week, and I'll probably move forward over the next probably 2 to 3 weeks. We'll continue on this topic on different reasons why businesses fail. And of course, this isn't going to be an all-inclusive list by any stretch of the imagination, but I think it's just something that's going to give us a lot of just points, areas to consider as it relates inside of our business, and also with us personally as we go about on the day-to-day of operating and running our businesses. So today we're gonna pick up on a little bit what we talked about last week on reasons why businesses fail. And we know statistically that 8 out of 10, at least 8 out of 10 businesses never make it to year 5. So that basically means that most businesses never get to the point of that profit stage, or they're not able to sustain the profit stage. We're starting to see, especially with this economic downturn that we're going through, we're starting to see businesses just kind of fade away for a number of different reasons. Seeing small businesses start to fail due to many different reasons. A lot of them are economical right now, and basically business owners having not prepared themselves or not knowing how to work through business cycles. And we'll talk about this a little bit. We mentioned it last week, and I'll talk about it a little bit more in the coming weeks as it relates to how to kind of work our way through some of these business cycles. But today, going to pick up on the topic of why businesses fail, or some reasons why businesses may fail. Number one for today, number 6 overall. We discussed the first 5 last week. We'll pick up on number 6 today. Not taking ownership of everything that happens inside the business, and I mean everything. I've had situations to where I had a clients that have come to me and say, well, an employee did this. We had an employee steal from us. We had a salesperson do this, and it's a reason why my business is struggling, or why we may have to close our doors, or whatever the case may be. And as a business owner, I think it's really absolutely extremely important that we take ownership of everything that goes on inside of our business. And we think Jocko Willink's book, Extreme Ownership. We have a lot of kind of this very much this ownership concept that I think is extremely important, and something that we really should take the time to evaluate. Am I truly taking ownership of everything that goes on inside of the business? Being a business owner, especially the more and more employees that you bring on, it can be tough. It can be difficult dealing with people the larger your business gets. There can be a lot more places you can go and look and place blame. Simply because you're not going to have your hands on and everything. You feel like, well, if I could have just had my hands on, or if I would have just done this myself, we could have averted this problem. But failing to realize that you would have never gotten to the level of growth, your business would have never gotten to where it's at now, or will never get to where you want it to be unless you start to bring people alongside you. So are you taking ownership of even those things that go wrong? And I think we should be really quick to give credit and almost never pass any blame. Okay, something goes wrong, it's our fault. And so we take ownership of it. You have an employee steal from you. Okay, do you look at the situation and say, okay, well, I didn't have proper oversight apparently. I wasn't making sure that there were other people involved. I didn't have proper internal controls. I mean, you can kind of go through the list of the things that you should have done that you didn't to create this. Sometimes bad people may end up inside of your business. Do you need to evaluate your hiring process? Are you doing testing? Are you involved enough? Do you have team members? Do you have maybe your business is large enough where you have managers? Is some of this being communicated with you? Something doesn't seem quite right. Are you doing regular training? Are you doing all these types of things that could have averted some of these issues? A lot of times when it comes to employee issues, a lot of those issues can be averted by right on the front end, and be slow to hire, being quick to fire. Okay, somebody comes into your business, doesn't seem like a right fit, something doesn't quite seem right, don't keep them. Okay, send them on their way. So you need to take ownership of everything that goes on to your business. Evaluate if it's one of your team members. Evaluate the situation. If it's an issue with a vendor, supply chain issues, whatever the case may be. Take ownership of those situations. What can you have done differently? What can you learn from it? And what can you change going forward to make sure that either you're going to minimize the issue or find another solution to the problem? Okay, so everything in your business, most everything within your business is within your control. Tax laws change, regulations change. We're starting to see more and more. I'm going to actually use the word oppression on business owners, as they're kind of like they're kind of viewed in not the positive light. The kind of your middle class business owner, someone just really trying to build really the backbone of this country in many ways, is really getting more and more scrutinized through regulation and through tax. And so we're going to see audits. We're already starting to see audits increase. We're starting to see regulations increase. And so take a look, stay on top of it. Know what you need to do inside of your business to make sure you can maneuver your way through these changes. Take ownership of it. You didn't create the law. You didn't do these types of things. That's understandable. But what can you do inside of your business to maneuver your way through the issues and to maneuver your way through the potential problems? And so don't be reactive, be very proactive inside of your business. A proactive business owner is going to succeed at a much greater scale by far, at a much greater percentage by far than someone who's somewhat aloof or not as engaged or not being proactive. They're more reactive to what's going on inside of their business. So another reason why businesses fail is the owner not taking extreme or absolute ownership of everything that goes on inside of their business. Next, a business owner that just simply works too many hours. I don't like the phrase work-life balance. I heard this phrase kind of coined in a little bit different way, which I kind of like here over the last few months. I'm not sure exactly where I heard it from, but it talked a lot about work-life harmony. And I kind of like that thought a lot better. There is no such thing as work-life balance. It's just simply not going to happen. You're going to exert more effort in one area than the other, depending on the season, depending on what's going on, depending on maybe the problems that you have to address. There are going to be those times where you're going to have to call home and say, "Honey, I'm gonna miss dinner. I'm gonna be late for dinner." You may end up missing a kid ball game, whatever the case may be. I'm not going to sit here and say, you need absolute priority. All those take higher priority. Well, we kind of understand that that's just always just isn't going to happen. So we have these principles upon which we live our life, and I think those are extremely important. But a business owner that simply just spends too much time working and not enough time, and I'm going to say taking self-care, and this is going to include those around you as well in your personal life. And so those areas shouldn't be neglected, but sometimes business owners either they spend too much time, they're thinking of working too much inside the business, whatever the case may be, but sometimes it's the alternative. I've seen clients even that they think, okay, well, I'm just going to delegate and I'm just going to pursue freedom. Okay, whatever that means. So I'm going to go through and I'm just going to do whatever I want, and then I'm going to let other people run my business, and I'm just going to collect a check. Okay, guess what? Your business isn't going to succeed that way. Okay, you're going to have to make a presence. You're going to have to be involved. So that's the other end of the spectrum. Okay, but I think most people think like working too much, meaning that business owner, they get up at the crack of dawn and they're literally working until 1 o'clock in the morning, and they simply neglect other areas. Work-life harmony, I think, is extremely important. Yes, we prioritize inside of our business. We do the things that need to be done, but also making sure we don't neglect self-care, that we do highly prioritize those self-care needs. Sleep, extremely important. Diet, extremely important. Making sure that we're exercising, we're getting sunlight, we're getting away from the office and establishing good relationships, personal relationships. We're doing these types of things that are just as important as who is my next hire, just as important as do I go into this next market, just as important as do I begin offering a new product or a new service line. All those things are important, but equally important, if not more important, are those self-care areas, making sure you're not neglecting yourself and you're not neglecting those relationships, and you're investing the appropriate amount of time. Because guess what? We're going to find a lot more fulfillment in those areas many times that we find our why, our purpose, then our business is going to help service those, not to sacrifice those in exchange for the business to get done. Meaning that I'm going to eat fast food, I'm never going to work out, I'm never going to go for a walk, I'm never going to get any sunlight, I'm going to neglect all these areas because I want to grow my company from 1 million to 10 million in the next year. Okay, it can be done in a much better way than simply neglecting all of these areas and just simply working too much. So find that work-life harmony that works for you to make sure that you're adequately investing in yourself and in family and those close relationships that are around you, as well as taking the appropriate time to invest inside of your business and making sure that the work is getting done. Next, just simply, and kind of on a related note, poor time management, wasting your time on things that just simply don't matter. And this can come in so many different areas. Sitting inside of your office when you should be getting something done and you're on social media, or, the things that you would kind of get on an employee for, you find yourself doing, skating away, taking long lunches with buddies and pals or even clients, and just not being efficient with your time. So really should be one of those things that I had a pastor when I was growing up of the church I attended, and he had a line that he talked about often as it relates to his schedule, that his schedule ran his life. And I think there's a lot of value in that. And I use a day planner. I actually use an analog day planner. I use a Michael Hyatt planner, and I've used it for a number of years. And literally within this calendar, it dictates my day. My team members will even tell me, Josh, is it in your calendar? Did you write it down? Did you put it down in front of you? Yes, I use electronic calendars, those types of things, and those are extremely important. But I definitely use something that is analog, something that's always with me, and that schedule many times runs my life. So I'm going to know, what it is that I'm going to be doing when, and I'm going to prioritize my time. I want to manage my time, not the events and things that are going on. Yes, emergencies happen, those types of things, but emergencies are emergencies. They happen rarely. Okay, so it is really most of our life can be run by our schedules, and we should make sure that we have control of those schedules, take ownership of it, prioritize, do those types of things that are necessary on a day-by-day basis to where you're managing your time well so you can have good work-life harmony. Next, number 9 on the list here, failure to take adequate risk. Just playing the game too safe. Alex Hermosi, someone I think if you're a business owner that could probably provide a lot of value. He has a podcast called The Game, and he talks a lot about business. He does it in a kind of at a 5th grade level. It's just really easy. A 10-year-old can understand most of what he says, understand what he reads, and he talks about simplifying things to where everyone can understand it. And he talks about the game. Talks about playing the game, and business in some ways is a game. And if you think about if you're in sports, if you're playing sports, or if you've watched sports, you understand that sometimes risks have to be taken. And as an entrepreneur, simply the word that means a risk taker, we have to make sure we're taking an adequate amount of risk. If we're playing the game too safe, if we're playing the game of business too safe, then at that point, we are going to find ourselves in a position of not succeeding, okay? Because we are going to have to take risk to stay relevant. We are going to have to take risk to take the next level in our business. And kind of one of those old laws of physics, right? Something in motion remains in motion, and we want to make sure business doesn't stay still. If I'm playing the game too conservative, it means I'm going to try to stay where I'm at. But guess what? That doesn't happen in business. Either I'm going to be moving forward or I'm regressing. I'm either progressing or I am regressing. So I'm either moving forward or I'm moving backwards. So are you taking the adequate amount of risk to push? Doesn't mean you're going to be a maverick in your business. There may be times that you're going to do that to where maybe the risk sometimes becomes a little bit reckless. Okay, but taking the adequate amount of risk to where it's not totally reckless, to where you're making good, sound decisions, analyzing the risk, but making sure that you are taking the adequate amount of risk and not playing the game so safe that you basically try to freeze where you're at. You're nervous, you're scared about taking that next step, and you will get eaten alive. Okay, so you will not find success if you are trying to play the game too safe. Number 10, a poor evaluation of your customers. And this is extremely important as it relates to making a decision of who you work with. I just got off a phone call today with a client, and the relationship has not gone very well. And I did not properly evaluate whether or not this would be a good client on the front end. And ultimately, I'm probably going to have to disengage from this client. And the person's not toxic. I mean, they're perfectly okay. But the lines of the business relationship were not established well on the front end. And because of that, found out that this is not going to be a good customer. Understand exactly what your avatar is. Your avatar isn't everyone. Okay, who specifically it is that you can sell your product or service. Make sure that it's clearly defined. Making sure you understand the type of customer. This goes beyond, do they meet certain criteria? This actually even goes on to a personal level, especially if you're having a close business relationship with your clients like we do here at the firm that I own. And so I want to make sure that customer is going to be a good fit for us all around. And so this is a two-way street. I can be pretty brash, I can be pretty blunt, that type of thing. And so I'm pretty clear on the front end with clients that ask permission. Is it okay? Letting you know I'm pretty blunt. I'm going to shoot with you straight. Is that okay? And vice versa. Kind of understanding, is that relationship with the client one that you're going to be able to work with them? If they're going to be able to work with your team, these types of things. If they're simply not going to do the things that they need to do so you can service them well, then they're probably not going to be the best client, and vice versa. And so we've come through the years to be able to pretty much clearly define the type of client beyond just the avatar, kind of the qualities that a client has that we're going to be able to work with them and work with them well. And then in the alternative, the clients that may fit our avatar, but we simply just don't want to work with them and don't feel like the relationship would be very good in the long term, them working with us, just simply because of the culture and the nature of the way that we do things and the nature that they do things as well. So just 5 more areas to consider as it relates to inside of your business and in some outside of your business we talked about today in order to make sure that your business continues to succeed. And hopefully you do have a successful business now and just trying to find ways to improve it. If you are struggling in some areas, maybe take a thing or two here, think about it, and maybe make some changes inside of your business. So the next 5 list on the list here of reasons why business fail. First of all, for today, not taking enough ownership, not taking absolute ownership of everything goes on inside of your business. Next, working too many hours, not having work-life harmony. Next, poor time management, not managing our time well. Next, failure to take adequate risk. And then lastly, poor evaluation of our customers. Once again, this is Josh Belk with the Belk on Business podcast. Hope this particular podcast brought you some value. Please consider listening, re-listening, subscribe to the podcast if you haven't already. Have a wonderful day.